Greetings, my dear beloved friends. Today, we are going to answer a very popular question. Actually, it was being asked since I started my work with Almine in 2010. And if we still keep asking it, then I come to conclusion that we did a poor job in our attempt to clearly explain it during all those years. Now everything should be clear. But if for some reason it's still unclear, then please tell me what exactly is unclear. Otherwise, we can't move on. We are stuck here. Lack of clarity here really creates a significant stumbling block that prevents us from fully transitioning to the second ring of magic. The second ring of magic, here you are completely free from all interactions with the discarnate beings, from the spirit realms. There is not even a shadow presence of spirit realms in your life anymore. You're in the field of the one, which means that you are the only one who makes your own decisions and creates your own life according to your original design, your image and your likeness. According to Almin, master doesn't seek the truth. Master creates it. So there is no other truth for you except the one you create. So what's the origin and nature questions or doubts, such as whether it's my will, or God's will, or the infinite's will, or the guardian angel's will, or whoever else's will? What would be the logical, intelligent reason for you to be concerned about somebody else's will? If your life is your life and not some gods, infinites, guardian angels, spirit realms, and I don't know whom else. Your desires are your desires. And why do you need to be concerned about desires of somebody else? We just let those others be the way they want to be and to desire things they want to desire. And you just are who you are. And you desire what you desire. And you want to live the way you want to live because you're a master creator who creates your own truth every moment. And whatever you desire or decide is the only law that covers your life. Especially when many of us are done away with such schizophrenia as if this is my highest self, higher self, middle self, lower self, or super lower self. Your self is one and only self. Otherwise, it's MP, multiple personalities syndrome, including millions of cells and billions of other dimensions. Schizophrenia and MP, let's call things by their own names. It's not about us at all. Another reason for such an inner schism is the following. What's the most destructive factor that destroys lives of billions of people on Earth? Even more horribly destructive than wars, earthquakes, natural cataclysms, all of this together. It's a suffocating, loving embrace of so-called parental love. Too much loving attention causes a state of being known as learned helplessness. Instead of training a child in self-sufficiency and self-government from his early childhood, they sometimes repeat thousands of times a day how small, helpless, and inept a child is. You are too small to think for yourself. You are too helpless to do it yourself. Before doing something or saying something, you must ask permission, because things that you want to do or to say may be different from things that your mom and dad want. First of all, if someone is an adult, those moms and dads, it doesn't mean that they're truly spiritually, mentally, and psychologically mature. So many adults, even if their age is 50s or 60s, but psychologically, they never outgrew their early teenage years. And here they are claiming to be highest experts in the area of child raising, child upbringing. They rather lead them astray, those children, than provide for them training that will be useful. But this is something that most of the people are not prepared to admit. The ideal situation would be if the parents' primary responsibility is to provide for a child a safe, child-proof environment, home, in a room, and any other areas used by a child, and then to encourage a child to think for himself and make his own decisions to a maximum possible level, of course, depending on their age, babies, toddlers, etc. For example, many people suffer from obesity because in their early childhoods, they allow their parents, grandparents, or guardians to decide how much they were supposed to eat on a daily basis. Looks like people totally forget about perfection of nature and natural instincts of every living being, including people, no matter how old they are. A child's body knows much better than his parents how much food he needs to consume. And if during breakfast the child says or shows by his bodily language that he doesn't want to eat anymore, unfortunately, the parents have their own great idea about how much food is needed for a child's proper nourishment. So the child's refusal to take more food beyond his instinctual sense of enough invokes anger in a parent and subsequent punishment of a child instead of just agreeing with the child's instinctual knowledge of when enough is enough. And this is one of the possible episodes in parent-child relationship, which may be a primary cause of strange idea that gets into a child on the subconscious level first, and then it gradually becomes his belief system, which later in his life may bring him to all kinds of religious teachings and religious organizations that promote the idea that here is imperfect, inept you with your filthy desires that are imperfect, inept, and wrong by default. And here's the higher will, God's will. And of course, every person creates his or her own God according to the image and likeness of their parents. Of course, your mother knows better than you what you need, how much you need to eat, how much you need to sleep, how much is much, and how little is little. Now, this destructive program operates on the subconscious level, and when a person is invited to join a religious organization or some new age spiritual community, he finds himself in a very, very, very familiar environment. He is small, inadequate, incompetent, inexperienced, inept, and here is a religious leader or a pastor or guru, a wise, mature expert, whose will, of course, must be the highest and the best will in the entire cosmos, and an adept must obey his guru, just because a guru knows better than an adept what is best for an adept. Those con men are really great dark psychologists, and they know how to use weaknesses of parental upbringing for their own personal and financial gain. They just need to play a role of surrogate father or mother for their surrogate children. That's why many of those dark manipulators, black magicians, call their followers my son, my daughter, my children, to invoke instant association with their parental suffocating, loving embrace. Your mom always knows better what you need and what you are supposed to want. You must trust your spiritual leader. You must trust your spiritual father or spiritual mother. Just trust your spiritual parents. They will guide you to a green pasture and then to a slaughterhouse after they squeeze your last cent out of your wallet. And their primary manipulation tool is to exploit this particular subconscious program. Parents always know better. In order to succeed in the field of the one or within the second ring of magic, we need to completely forget about obedience as a concept. Almin always reminded us that we are not supposed to treat her words, her teachings, as direct instructions, doctrines, or guidelines. She used to say that if we need to keep, when we hear her saying something, we listen to it and we tell ourselves, okay, maybe it's true, maybe not. And then she said that if some of her words resonate with us, we accept them as our own truth. If not, we just forget it. Only a true master teacher can say that. That's why we're here. That's why we want to participate in Almin's work. It's truly the safest space for every truth seeker. You will never be exploited and abused here. On the contrary, we are more than happy and eager to assist you in getting rid of all destructive programs, your subconscious mind. Just because we want to see you powerful, we want to see you self-sovereign, self-sufficient master of your own life, your own highest authority, and your own highest power. That's why we gladly uproot all subconscious issues that could limit you. Now you know the origin of the self-doubt. Should or shouldn't I desire this or that? Is it my will or God's will or infinite's will? And what we're doing now, we are setting our inner child free from hostile, destructive, suffocating parental embrace, which so many people confuse with love. The only true love that exists is self-love. A child wants to protect his body by rejecting extra food. He instinctually feels that it needs to be rejected for the sake of his health and well-being, because the child operates in his natural self-love. And of course, feeding a child is just one of the many possible examples. We start with giving ourselves total permission to admit that now we understand the reason why we try to divide our sovereign free will into parts. My will, mother's will, father's will, God's will, and many other people's will. That's why we have a lot of people on earth that are eager to live according to whomever else's will instead of their own will, their own instincts, their own goals, their own desires. Our inner child really doesn't need any inner nurturer, inner warrior, especially inner sage, because all of those three extra voices create unnecessary noise, unnecessary baggage. A child doesn't really need a nurturer or a warrior or a sage, because a child is all of these three in one. He's his own warrior. If we don't limit a child by artificial moral codes, then he will always know exactly how to express his warring nature whenever it's necessary. Often we underestimate the greatness of child's magical power, which he can use to take care of himself and protect himself. If we never told him that he is weak and small and inept and inadequate, the same as his wisdom, his ability to take care of himself. He tells parents and guardians what he needs, and they provide him with it, and not vice versa. Just a reminder, responsibility of the parents and guardians is providing the most safest child-proof environment for a child. Availability of food, comfortable temperature, comfortable furniture, and proper supervision. But it's up to a child how much food he needs for breakfast. And then we observe his life, his behavioral patterns, we just observe. And we support it. We support behavioral patterns that he develops. For example, sometimes a child just wants to sit in silence and ponder something all days long. And of course, we don't try to push things through his throat. You must play this game. You must watch this cartoon. You must do this. You must do that. We have better idea about what's best for you. If a child wants to cry, no big deal, no problem at all. We just let him cry as much as he wants. If he wants to play, we just let him play. Very important. We need to make sure that the child, from his early babyhood, one way or another, receives verbal, and of course, for babies, for very small child, mostly non-verbal messages that he is powerful, he is omnipotent, self-sufficient being, and his will is the law of the universe. There are millions and millions and millions of creative ways how to do it efficiently and effectively. And as Almin says, it's never too late to have a happy childhood. And a happy childhood for your inner child is to consciously understand that in your life, there's only one will in your universe, your will, and only your will be done, always and forever. No more questioning yourself. And there's no right and wrong here. We're at different levels of consciousness. And if you're at such a level where money and possessions are your highest value in your current value system, then why to live in self-denial? Use the power of your thought, feeling, imagination, which are your primary tools within the second ring of magic, to create more money and possessions. As often as you like, imagine yourself in this magical room filled with gold, diamonds, and stacks of dollar bills, millions and millions of dollars. A visualization that Almin gave us during one of her premier webinars in 2017. Actually, no, 2018. And you'll always get in the physical what you create in the non-physical. If someone says that he wants to be the richest person in the world, okay, this is what he wants. We are not religion that tells, oh no, it's a sin to want things like that. It's selfish, immature, carnal, lower self, egocentric, and all other kinds of judgmental, humiliating statements. A hostile, destructive, suffocating embrace of the so-called divine love, or in the New Age circles, the loving grace of a guru or some great master hierophant. We're done with that. You are the only law for yourself. Use your thought power, feelings, imagination to create for yourself everything that you want. Yes, we evolve, and our desires evolve with us. And perhaps at some point, your desires will become less material and more abstract. But let us be honest with ourselves. How about today? Are they more or less material, more or less abstract? How about today? Whatever your desire is, whatever you want to manifest, don't feel ashamed of it. You don't know what shame is. You don't know what guilt is. Those are also states that were artificially installed by parental suffocating loving embrace. If you disobey your parents' will, shame on you, you are guilty, you are a sinner, you will be punished if you disobey. Treat obedience as a curse word. Happy holidays. Talk to you soon.